great to be here, and the speakers have done such an amazing job. I'm here talking about work, and in the United States, like, we really love work, don't we? And it's crazy how much we love work, right? We spend all these years going to school, and then we get trained for like a particular job that we're gonna do, and we like invest in that ourselves and trying to build up our skills, and then we actually go to work and do stuff. And that's pretty cool, but all of that isn't happening in the same way anymore, right? All of that's changing. Matter of fact, people are losing faith, right? People aren't going to college anymore. That used to be the way you made more money than your parents, is you went to college. But that's not happening anymore. People aren't going to college anymore. Why is that happening? Why are people losing faith in that? Well, it actually makes a lot of sense. It's a decision. People talk about guns and butter in economy. You make a decision between what you're going to do. It's called the convex preference curve for nerds. But money and time is basically the decision that we're making right now in the United States. And that decision's like since 1975, that's the bottom curve is the median income, and the top curve is the GDP, our output. It used to be that when we worked, we actually got a share of the gross domestic product, but now it's not happening the same way anymore, right? Matter of fact, here's a list of countries in the world in which 1 hour of work buys you more stuff than 1 hour of work in the United States. France, who loves wine more than work, right, actually does a lot better. Italy loves vacation, right? They do better than us. Take a look at Lyft. You make 80 to 85 grand a year at Lyft. We're like working 30 hours a week. A BS degree gets you 44 grand in New York City, plus $37,000 of college debt. It takes you 10 years to catch up. And this is when we talk about the gig economy, this is what's changing, right? It's better work, more time off, and the life you want. But there's losers in the gig economy. Right? And those losers are restaurants and low-wage workers. And 43% of workers are going to move to the gig economy by 2020. 43%. By contrast, the biggest job in the United States right now is restaurant, server, type 11%. That's amazing. So now we're creating in restaurants this huge high turnover with less experienced people, right? And it's the most common low-wage job, and they're the ones losing in this economy. They're the ones suffering. They can't even hire workers anymore, right? And so they're really struggling. But yet, they're growing at twice the rate of the economy. So 3% is the rate at which restaurant jobs are growing. 1.4 is the rest of the economy. So it's actually a bright spot in our economy, yet they can't hire workers with any experience. 66% are newbies. Never worked in the industry. 75% annual turnover. That's the average. The change is way higher. Right? And that's terrible, because whether or not you come back to that restaurant, whether or not how much money you spend, it's all determined by the number of workers. And the workers are circling this on their calendar and saying, screw this job. I'm being paid $2.85 for, which is tipped minimum wage on the East Coast, by the way, when I'm going to quit. $144,000 is what the average restaurant spends in turnover. If you start looking at profit and loss in restaurants, that's like the entirety of profit and loss in the average restaurant in the United States, right? So this is a massive problem for most restaurants, and it is a race to the bottom. Most restaurants are looking at this saying, if we can't fix this problem, we're going to go out of business. And so you're seeing counter service, you're seeing fast casual, you're seeing all of these kind of impacts right now in the restaurant business as restaurants try and grope with this. And I talk about restaurants because Weight Trainer is my company, which works with restaurants and helps with training, but it's a huge problem in Walmart. Who wants to go to work for Walmart when they can make 3 times as much working for TaskRabbit and work, 25% less hours in a week? And this is why it's especially painful in restaurants. This is the productivity of most businesses, and that blue line is the productivity of restaurants. They haven't really changed much. Technology hasn't helped them like other people. So like, what's the problem? Well, the minimum wage is artificially deflated right now, and you've heard this like, how much the minimum wage should be if it was raised the same amount as CEO salaries, and you sort of start looking at all the gig economy stuff, and it kind of is tending to that $20 an hour. So what do restaurants do? They're going to have to get really, really good at training new people. They're going to have to be able to bring new people on and train them and have them be really effective, because that $144,000 they lose, 75% of that is lost productivity. So they have to train faster to be more competitive. And that's what's changing in training and low-wage jobs in our economy. Thank you very much.